But today it's all about narcissism, right?
This reminds me of that song, that something of like red-handed, cheating with
the girl next door, speechless, verbal,
banging on the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
Mistress, or just misbehaved.
Sultry by the little episode that we make. Back at it again. This is Jane and P.
Back at it, bitches. And we're going to pose for a picture right now.
Arwen's back with us again right now, and he's taking all our pictures. And Arwen's actually got something super exciting that he wants to, for instance, share. Jane's like posing like crazy, and I'm just like
chilling in your capsule t-shirt that I love.
Yeah, support your local. I love Capsule, guys. Capsule is an online website that imports streetwear for you. You definitely have to check it out. It's run by two extremely strong, beautiful, confident women that are such fucking badasses with the best sneaker collection that I've seen in my entire life. Also not missing out on the people on Veg Non-Veg who have a great sneaker collection too, but
Capsule is pretty amazing, mainly because I've seen your photo shoots with them, and this is your like part-time life, like part-time lover.
It's
part-time
my
model,
part-time thing,
obsession.
So actually we're trying something huge with them at the moment, and I think that's something I'm not going to disclose on this
edition
podcast,
of the podcast,
but like eventually
Episode
I think
3?
we will talk about it, of course. But shout out to Capsule. Follow them on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't think they're on Twitter, but go there, buy your streetwear.
I would totally love to wear what you're wearing, man. During this lockdown, we all have been wanting to and meaning to just wear like comfortable clothing.
Yeah.
You look so comfortable, and you look like really pretty in pink.
Oh, thank
Like,
you so much.
you're like the pretty, which is not like the, right now, the typical pink and pretty type of girl, but you're like more like pretty, like that.
I
like
love how
badass,
Jade is
kick-ass.
like gonna make me cry. Where are my tissues?
Episode number 3, guys. Welcome to this episode, and this is all about narcissism, and I'm sure many of you have heard this word, and we'll also kind of break down sadism, masochism, and certain kind of behavioral and psychoanalytical patterns
of men and women. Both. But before we get into it, we're obviously going to share the different kinds of narcissism that we come across, the narcissism in ourselves, and the different kinds of processes or issues that people usually go through. We're going to be sharing some interesting stuff with you. But before that,
Arwen from M.A.G.M.A has decided, that's why we're shooting this podcast, guys. He is telling you that M.A.G.M.A will take a really brilliant artist out there who has like a scratch, but maybe not the funds right now or the means to kind of get it completely mixed, mastered, produced. So if you'd like that, I mean, that's something that you can apply for. Slide into our DMs on the Missbehaved podcast.
He's giving you a free scratch to master of mixed track finish of one track, and he's going to help you out with all the professional bases. If you guys are really into it, we're terrible fucking beatboxers. I think that's established.
So bad. I'm horrible at
But
this.
if you guys are just starting out in the scene and you want some help, you want some professional help, hit us up. We'll select one of you, and we'll link you onto our man Arwen, who will help you out.
That's
something.
He's
also got a really great band that he's a part of.
One Fred Away is what it's
So
called.
listen to One Fred Away right now.
This is not a metal song. That's one of their songs. And somewhere in that song, there's like this word that goes thong.
Thongs! I love thongs. Thongs are awesome.
I don't think somebody of my size can. I mean, not that I'm not.
What?
Size.
No, you could totally wear a thong.
I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, thongs are not comfortable in general. Yeah? Anyone who says, "Oh, thongs are so nice," no, fuck you. No, it's not. That shit goes up your.
Can I ask you a question straight up? Like, if you have a nice ass and then you're wearing a thong or a bikini, whatever that shows your ass like really well and looks good, is it narcissistic to post pictures of your, like Jake Paul's current girlfriend?
If it is, then I am, because I've got pictures of my ass on the internet for sure.
Right, and you're a beach girl, aren't you?
I'm a complete like beach vibe. I love to surf. I love to tan.
Don't you miss it? I mean, because you're like fucking stuck at home.
Weather.
No surfing, no sea, no sky.
No surfer, no sea, no sky. That's what it is.
I said surfing. Mind how she turned that into surfer.
Okay, guys.
Have
I'm
you dated a surfer
deaf.
dude or a surfer chick?
I've dated a surfer chick once, and she had the best legs. That's why I'm into legs. Like, girl, I'm not like a boobs or an ass kind of girl.
For girls,
I'm
it's
like,
legs, and for guys, we got it established in the last podcast that it's calves.
It's calves.
For me, it's about the voice, right? Anyone, girl, boy, if it's that intense sort of voice that can keep you engaged with also the quality of conversation, it's great. But hey, narcissism, that's our podcast today. We have a story for you.
We have a really cool story for you. But before that, shout out to Jekyll and Hyde, who made our intro tune. These are two friends of mine named Jeff and Vishnu, who are trying on experimental music at the moment. And you should hit them up on their social media if you want to get swifty, if you know what I mean.
And thrifty. But yes, narcissism. All right. Can I give you, before we get into Jack and Sally, and this is the story.
Whatever happened to Jack and Sally? Oh my God.
It's a story about Jack and Sally. And Jack got cheated on by, not Sally, but by his ex of how many years? 14 years.
14 years.
And the ex were anonymously, were changing her name too.
Gonna change her name.
Radhika.
Radhika. Okay, let's call her Radhika.
Yeah,
let's
so
call
basically it's Jack.
Random Radhika.
And Sally. This is the story of Jack and Sally and Radhika.
We're not Firang obsessed people. Jack wanted us to
Very
name
local.
this thing. Okay?
Local.
Jack wanted to be called Jack. So this is a true fucking story.
For local. Yeah, his real name is something Indian for sure. But anyways, Jack, Sally and his ex Radhika. And the whole idea is to try and understand narcissism through the story that we followed for how many hours?
For 4 hours to two different locations.
So this is what we're going to do on our podcast, guys. We're going to listen to stories about relationships, about life and love.
No,
and
we
lust.
do that, and that's it. If you have a great story, me and Jane are a sucker for a great story. We will follow your story to your houses, to your bathrooms, to your bars, to your bedrooms, to everywhere that you're going to go right now. We're going to follow your story, and that's the whole idea of us making content ourselves. So
fantastic.
Whatever happened to Jack and Sally? But before that, I think you should tell people about how, as a narcissist, Jack changes the narrative of fixing his broken heart.
Absolutely. So, okay, guys, first let's give you the story straight. Jack is a guy who, is an interesting metrosexual sort of a guy. Nice guy. Dated this girl for 14 years, Radhika, and they had a racy sort of relationship. In 14 years, you kind of slow down, right? 14th year, he goes home back to the city of Joy, which is where he's from, and he goes into his house, and he has come in a day earlier than expected.
To surprise his
babe. He walks into his own house. She has a spare key. And he, just wants to, crash a little earlier. He goes there, but 14 years into this relationship, he walks past his bedroom in his house where she has an extra key, and he sees her fucking his best friend. Not even kidding about this.
That is what reminds me of that song, that something of red-handed, cheating with
the girl next door, speechless,
banging on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, whatever. So that's really happened. I'm sure many of you have been cheated
You had given her an extra key. That means he had the key. You have the extra key, girl.
Yeah. And she's done this, and for 1 year, he never accosted her because he's always been this narcissist who's been in love with himself, with his ideas of a relationship, of control in a relationship. And, he's loved it. He's enjoyed it. He's this alpha male who has no fucking idea how he got cheated. So believe me, cheating can happen to anyone. Don't judge yourself by it.
Happy Thursday. You're all fucking getting cheated on.
So know what level of cheating is allowed in a relationship. Talk about it. But today it's all about narcissism, right?
Yeah. So before we get into the entire story that I'm going to tell you, this story has many different parallel sides, and it's going to take you on a journey of pretty much seeing characteristic traits of yourself, people that you've encountered on a daily basis. And it's not basically to point
these characters are not fictional. They are true.
Yeah.
True life stories you'll relate to.
Let's get into one thing about Jack. Jack is not the good guy in this story, right?
Right.
So that's where we're going to start. Jack is not the good guy, but in order to fix his broken heart from his old relationship with Radhika, he went to change his life by just changing the narrative, right? So it said, I have a future with her I have a future, with her, ? When you add punctuations into your reality,
right?
It changes your whole thing. And
I have a future with her? ? I don't think so. I mean, 1 year after he finds out, he accosts her, they break up, and then he mends his broken heart by rebounding.
No, he didn't. He didn't rebound.
He didn't rebound.
He didn't do anything. He just changed his narrative. 10 years later, he started dating Sally.
Yeah.
Which
is the girl in the picture right now.
Yeah.
His current girlfriend. But the worst bit is this is sort of a rebound relationship for her.
For Sally.
And this is where it gets worse. So this is why we're talking about how relationships can be very complicated. Pretty much like the plot of, your favorite, even if you're watching anything on Netflix or Prime, I mean, anything today, the more twists and turns you watch in a series, you're like, onto it. But real life can be stranger than fiction, man. Happens in real people's lives. Like, you get fucked
every
over.
day.
You're in the relationship. Jack is in the relationship with Sally today because he thinks, he enjoys that sort of attention that he's getting from a girl again. He knows it's going nowhere, right? He understands
He
that.
knows it's potentially maybe going nowhere, but
Yeah.
he's keeping himself in it. But we'll get into that once we tell them the story, right? So we met Jack at a bar, right? And Jack's our friend that we met at a bar that we've known for a while. Now, Jack is like a very nosy business kind of guy. Like, he likes to be in everybody's business, right? Like, he wants to be on good terms with everybody. And he's very observant of like behavioral traits, and Jack does a lot of research. The kind of Jack is a feeder, you know? Like, he feeds on people and he feeds on their personalities and the kind of people that they are, right?
And he kind of takes a little bit of their personalities and slaps it onto himself.
Exactly. And he's
Which
very
is a good trait.
Yeah, it's not
Kind
the
of.
worst thing ever, as long as it's just the good stuff that you're taking.
Yeah.
But Jack has this habit of like adapting onto other people's patterns, very unconscious, like subconsciously, and he does that, right? So Sally's had a bit of a tough past, and she came from a very conservative family, and she only opened up to who she was once she moved to college.
Right.
You know, your college hoeing years, like go ho or go home, right?
Yeah.
Which is there. So Sally's not even like, Sally's a 4, okay?
I would say she's a 5.
I mean,
saw her.
you're just nice. So
No, I mean, I'm generally a nice... I mean, I guess.
Sally's a fucking 4. But this is the thing, right? Is that...
But he isn't like a 9 either, right?
No.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's
I
a
mean, I
nice
wouldn't
guy,
rate
but
him because he's a
not like-
friend.
yeah,
so I
he's a
can't rate
friend.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sally's like a 4. And this is the thing with like a lot of girls that I want to point out in general is that ladies, I get it. You want to style yourself, you want to accessorize yourself, but your fucking colored contacts have got to go out.
Especially
the
if you're
fucking
Indian
window.
and you were like brown skinned or whatever color.
Yeah.
It's not about the color, but when you try too hard to impress somebody, when you this is a confession I haven't told you before. So I did the blue contact lens phase for like
serious?
7 months, and I was the worst looking. And my friends have told me, I mean, you always try to be something you're not. You try to appear cooler. This
You
doesn't
think
go.
you're looking good, but it's
You're
not
not.
fucking working,
Yeah,
right? Like, he's
exactly.
not into it. Your eyes are red, they're dry. He can see your fucking fake plastic contacts. Like,
Exactly.
come on, bitch. Get real
Yeah,
with yourself.
yeah,
He needs
yeah.
to look into your eyes. Not into...
Narcissism today is about a whole new bunch of
That's
levels.
so crazy, though. She doesn't want him to look her in the eye directly.
Yeah,
though.
he
That's
doesn't.
fucking crazy.
Colored contact
That's
lenses
why
or
she wears
otherwise.
colored contact lenses
Yeah.
to depict a whole different
So
personality of
basically,
herself.
we're talking about, just to give you a perspective, narcissism sometimes in a relationship is about getting into something, proving that you're superior by playing yourself as not so much a superior, and understanding that you can just go on with this relationship by just being like the alpha male or the alpha female. But in reality, are you really enjoying this relationship? No, you're actually hurting, but you're enjoying the hurt and you're enjoying the pain, and you dig yourself deeper. So what happens in the story? How does Jack dig himself deeper?
Jack basically realizes that Sally is the kind of girl, and getting to know her for a bit, that she's the kind of girl who goes from rebound to rebound to rebound, right? And she doesn't like space her rebounds out like within years or whatever. She goes from week to week to week to week. Next guy.
Sally sounds like me. I'm so sorry, but I've been here.
No, I mean, we've all been there at a point, right? It just, I think the older you get, the wiser you get everything, right? So this is Sally. Now, signs. Everybody fucking classes in session, take fucking note right now.
Yeah, this is important.
Signs if you're in a rebound. I'll give you 10 signs. If you're dating someone and you're in a rebound, this is what it probably is, right? Is that you're totally in love with them for no reason.
Suddenly, or out of the blue, right?
Yeah, and you were in love with a different guy like 2 days ago.
No, 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago, and
then
20
you
minutes
suddenly
later you met Venkat on the subway, and now Venkat is your everything.
And then you're just having chipotle sauce in your subway together.
Sambar sauce in your chipotle.
Or sambar sauce in your thai sadam, and you're suddenly all over this person. You're like, oh baby, coochie cooing, and that is wrong. That's rebound.
That you're in love with them for no reason. So your relationship moves really fast and really slow at the same time.
Yeah.
So in a week, you'll feel like you've been together for 10 years, but then at the same time, you'll feel like you don't know each other at all.
Yeah, and then suddenly everything breaks down, and a rebound relationship is really shitty. It's great for sex, like make-up sex or break-up sex or whatever, but that's it. I don't know how many rebound relationships can actually become healthy relationships.
It does. It's very few.
Very
Very
difficult,
few,
right? Yeah.
They seem really into making their ex jealous. That's another thing, right? Is that they're completely fixated on the ex, so they'll go like twice as out to take 10,000 pictures of you and them and put it on social media so the ex sees it, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that they do. They want people to see that, oh, look at me, I'm with this guy. I fucking hate that, honestly.
I gotta make a comment here. So my boyfriend and I, we've decided that we won't put ourselves too out there on social media, not because of anything else, but because
the
sometimes
more private you are, the happier you are.
Exactly, because
honestly.
people are always judging you. Oh my God, he's younger. Is he gonna leave her? Is she gonna fuck him over? Is she gonna cheat? People are speculating on the outside. So I think to keep a relationship real, especially if it's not a rebound relationship, when you know it's not one, is to genuinely, I don't know, like keep it private. I think.
Like, I feel the quieter you are about your
Yeah.
shit, and you're not hiding. You're just not. It's not dinner table conversation.
Exactly.
Right? You have a shit ton of sex. That is another pointer. Is that when you're
this
in a
is the
rebound,
tough
right?
one, right?
Yeah, and everybody does it. Let's face it.
So
Okay,
then I think there my step is, if you're enjoying the sex, enjoy it and keep it there. Don't get involved if you know it's a rebound relationship.
True. But most people in rebounds don't actually know they're in rebounds. Have you realized? They don't know.
Or they know it and they don't acknowledge it.
It's clearly living in denial.
Yeah,
in a way,
yeah.
okay? So they definitely want to act like a long-term couple within the first week itself. They're like, oh, we've been together for so many years and I know exactly what he likes. No, you don't, okay? He doesn't even fucking know who you are. You've held your crazy down for a while and eventually it's going to fucking come out.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
the thing, right? You don't have anything in common.
This, I mean, is just the weirdest thing. I mean, they say opposites attract, but my point here is there have to be mutual understanding. There has to be common topics, common
I don't think
interests.
your boundaries are also the things that you have in common, though. I
Yeah.
feel like that's also different, right?
Yeah.
Their interest in you will always change from like sudden hot to sudden cold. So one day they'll be like thirst trap Thursdays,
And
the
suddenly
next day
gone.
it's ghost you, bye, sorry, who the fuck
Yeah,
are you,
it is
right?
like fuck you Fridays. I'm not going to see you. So yeah, if it's a very hot and cold sort of relationship, this is a rebound relationship, or at least it's not the right relationship. Yeah.
The next point is you will constantly feel like you have to measure up to like a certain standard.
Yeah.
Like you feel like they have this bar and they're always trying to mold you into being the person they want you to be.
All narcissists do this. I mean, if they're
And they
so into
don't
themselves,
do it consciously. They
it's
do it in a way
subconscious.
where they're like, oh, I want this for me, and why wouldn't you want this for me? And I've noticed so many guys do that. I've noticed so many girls
do that,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Stop trying to change the person.
because
right?
if you're changing the person straight up, you're going to definitely cut that equation that you have. You have to be yourself. Like, if you're somebody like, I have a one-track mind, and, I always think about, I'm always, even in my head when I'm meeting somebody, sexual intentions may not be there, but sexual parallels. That's how I am. I mean, some guys are built like that, some girls are built like that.
Yeah,
I'm like pretty
absolutely.
much like that. But yeah.
Yeah. And the last point pretty much being is, that there's more than one of you.
I
know that there's
Can
more
we
than one
quote
of
your
you.
line? There's no such thing as a side bitch.
There's no such thing as a side bitch. If there's more than one of you, you're a dumb bitch.
So yeah, if there are more than one of you in a relationship, now it may be different if it's an open relationship and it's for fun and experimentation.
That understanding.
But if the
it's
understanding
rebounds
is
are usually like you have 4 or 5 guys on a rebound just waiting to hit up.
Exactly.
Like if he doesn't respond, I'm gonna hit this guy.
Another
If
one,
he doesn't respond, like
another
everyone
one
does that.
Yeah, I guess that's
So
wrong.
let's get into Jack and Sally's story, okay?
Yeah.
After they sort of knew each other, Jack understood her pattern that she's a rebound guy. Jack still went for it though.
Yeah.
Jack was like, I'm gonna get my dick wet, I'm gonna get my socks wet, I'm gonna get everything wet, and let's do this, right?
Great
So,
sex. That's something that
you
he
remember this,
definitely
like,
talked about.
Definitely, right?
Yeah,
So
he
do you remember this cocktail festival that happened in Bangalore like a few months ago before lockdown came and fucked our cases, right?
Yeah.
So Jack and Sally went to like the cocktail festival. The first day that they went, Sally started acting really weird and she was like, no, I want to go home. She starts doing her drama and all of this shit, right? The second day, she ghosts him. Like she ghosted this guy. She didn't
hot
respond.
and cold. There it is.
Yeah, it's hot and cold instant, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So she kind of like ghosted him and she was like, oh, she's not responding to his text. She's not picking up his calls. She hasn't called him. She hasn't done anything, right? And he's tried to reach out to her, but she's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. Like, read receipts left on, don't
Oh
give
my
no
God.
shits,
Yeah.
right?
If there's anybody, guys, this is not just for first timers, but anyone out there, everyone needs their space in a relationship. But if you ghost on the other
On
person,
the
if you
second day,
disappear,
you know that's a fucking rebound. You
or
know they're on a
even
rebound.
if it is way into the relationship, say you've been with someone for 10 years or 8 years and suddenly the other person's not available, that is a red flag. Like, I'm not saying available all the time, like, oh,
Yeah.
baby, I'm in your face and, my tongue is in your mouth all the time. No, I'm not talking about that. But, when you suddenly get distant, when you have only your other friends and your career and your life to take care of, and suddenly this relationship is not so important, it's if not a rebound relationship, it's a bad relationship.
It's a bad fucking
Yeah,
relationship.
that's it.
So, the third day of the cocktail festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't Jack doesn't go for the third day of the cocktail festival, but Sally suddenly texts him at night drunk and says, give me your address, I'm coming home. And Jack, being Jack, was like, here's my location, my live location, on for 8 fucking hours, baby. You get here when you gotta get here, right?
And she gets there.
And when she gets there, she's pretty drunk, and Jack sort of gives her like another drink, and Sally exceeds her true drink limit, and Sally's already wasted because she can't handle her liquor, and
she's all ready to get in bed with this guy.
she's ready
with
to
Jack.
get in bed. Clothes start coming off. You're in third base. They're like touching each other, but they're not sleeping with each other yet. Shit's just really, really steamy, right? Now Jack, being the gods of cock block, just stops all of a sudden and is like, you know what? I feel like shit's going too fast. Right?
Because he feels it in reality. Plus, this is how narcissists operate, right? They feed off your energy. They enjoy your attention. They are literally basking in your,
Even if you're
in
not
your...
a narcissist, you're feeding off someone else.
Yeah, you're always. Yeah, everybody else is. But this is a narcissistic side to anybody, right? You're actually fucking enjoying the attention, but you don't want to give it back, or you want to put the break in it, or you want to, just...
like keep taking breaks. Let's take space every 20 days. I want to
you get her going, you leave her high and dry. This is a narcissistic behavior by both girls and boys.
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jack stops getting steamy with this girl and then says, you know what, let's talk. So Jack and Sally start talking, and then for 2-3 more nights, she keeps coming back to his house.
And they're only talking.
And they're only talking and they're talking. They're talking and they're cuddling. That's all they're
just
doing,
mix
right?
the two, yeah.
Talking. Yeah, that's what
On
they're
a side
doing.
note, I like talking and cuddling. I think it's sweet.
So, the night of the lockdown, the first lockdown that happened earlier in March, right? Jack is trying to see where is this going with Sally. I feel like Jack is in this open hopes expenditure of it also, because he already knows she's on a rebound.
Right.
But he's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give her the benefit of fucking doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
And see if she's really into
Yeah, I
me,
mean, let
because
me
she
see if I can
seems really
connect with her.
Yeah, maybe.
Somewhere, a narcissist or a human always has this hope that if you really like somebody, or if you think there's even a 1% possibility of something happening, even if it's 99% not going to happen, you're still going to will that 1% to somehow happen, right?
Yeah.
That is somewhere where, I mean, as a narcissist, he's feeding off her attention and energy and enjoying
Absolutely.
it.
Jack is a complete feeder,
Yeah, he's
right?
being a dick to her right now.
So the night of the lockdown, Jack is like, Sally, where is this going, right? Like, he's really interested and all. And guess what fucking happens? Sally moves into Jack's house.
Ooh.
It's been less than a month. It's been less than 5 days.
But
and
this-
Sally's already moved
I'm sorry,
in.
but this blame it on the lockdown, man. We're all feeling lonely. We've seen people commit suicide, dying. So I guess this is that, okay, fuck, if I'm swiping right on somebody, let me go all the way and try and see if
So
this
Sally
can work.
moves into Jack's house. They start living together, and somehow they start like working on it, okay? Now enter another character, okay? So we're gonna bring in character number 2 named Malika.
Character 3, Radhika
Character
was the
3.
ex.
Radhika's
Sally
the
is
ex,
the current.
Sally's the current, and Malika's the side
Right.
person. She's not a side bitch, but she's the side person.
Okay,
right?
he's not screwing her, but
No, he's not touching her or anything. They
Anything.
work together, basically,
like
right?
that, okay.
And he can't like cross that boundary with her,
right.
which is
But does he want to? She wants to.
so this is the thing, right? Malika sort of confesses her love for Jack in a way.
Oh, love?
Yeah.
That's too strong a word, but
Like
nevertheless.
her
feelings.
coochies.
Yeah, she
Her
wants
coochie's
to.
calling for Jackie, basically, right? So coochie calling for Jack, right? And this is the thing about
Guys,
Malika.
never mix business and pleasure. Don't date somebody at work. Side
Yeah.
note. Go ahead.
Do not fuck the people you
Don't
work
shit
with.
where you
Don't
eat.
shit where you eat.
Yeah,
exactly. Right?
Yeah, go with it.
So, Malika's got this thing, right? She's a real bitch. She's a mean girl. Like, she's a mean fucking person, right? And she always talks shit about him, and she talks to him. She's always a fucking dick to him, right?
Yeah.
Say, for example, if she, like, video calls him or whatever, like, on a Zoom call, instead of focusing on the work at hand, she'll be like, oh my God, you're wearing this. And she'll take a shit on his clothes. She'll take a shit on his face.
So,
She'll be
I kind of can psychoanalyze that shit. So if you really like somebody, you always fucking, go full frontal, like aggressive.
Malika's a dom.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a
So
dom.
Malika is a dom. Sally's a sub so far,
Yeah.
from what we know.
Yeah.
Malika's a dom, right? And her thing is that she feels like if she picks on him non-stop, he's gonna finally crack under the pressure and see if, like, what's happening, right? She's trying to see if Jack is playing hard to get.
Right.
Which Jack kinda is.
But I don't think he's ever going to cross the line because I think he knows that there is
Yeah,
a
he knows,
strong
right?
fucking line,
So,
right?
Malika, like, bitches to, like, 1,000 people, like, colleagues, friends, etc., etc. And Jack just, like...
Can I give you a metaphor here? Or, it happens in a lot of relationships. I
Yeah.
saw this in a song and my baby showed it to me. This was from the movie Dil Se. It's a song where Shah Rukh Khan is singing to Manisha Koirala and singing, saying, the distance is good.
Yeah.
We know that, I know from your eyes you're not into me, but then somewhere it's distance that the impossibility of this relationship is what, when I look into your eyes, because it's impossible.
The song is playing in my
The
head
song is
right
playing in my
now.
head. I feel that there's something in your eye, and it's the only excuse, this distance, to make me want to come closer to you.
Yeah,
So I guess this whole play hard to get thing is gonna happen.
But this is the thing, right? Malika is... I don't know if she's looking at it from a filmy perspective. I know she's looking from an extremely narcissistic perspective because Malika is a narcissist. She loves herself. She loves it when people give her the attention. She'll make sure that everyone in a room is talking about her. If she's sitting somewhere, she'll always distract attention towards herself and whatever she needs to be put on that pedestal. She's extremely entitled.
And
but
she's enjoying this, why, right?
yeah, because people give her this kind of attention.
Yeah, but
either
why
way.
is she enjoying this more? Because he's not giving her the attention that she
Exactly.
always gets, right?
True,
So
true.
here, even though she's being the dom, she's kind of enjoying the rejection, and this is how the rule of life is.
So Malika is the kind of narcissist that bullies you into liking her.
Yeah.
Right? Where she sort of wants to be the upper hand of all of that shit. But it's not really working, right? With Jack. So Jack kind of gets into like this entire pressure of shit. And he finally breaks down under pressure because he can't take it anymore because too many people are talking about him. And he ends up fucking Sally.
Finally.
Yeah,
right?
he ends up fucking Sally like I
on a
think
night that
after-
she doesn't expect it, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
But
the first time.
mid-sex, he just stops and starts to have a fucking epiphany, right? He realizes that
She's not the one. I think that's
he's
what he
basically like figured out that there are some red flags about the way she is and the way she's behaving, right? He's like kind of picking up on small things as to how she is. And this is the thing, right? If you're on birth control and you're having like unprotected, sex without a condom, that's fine. But if you're not on birth control and you're just fucking without a condom, that's a red flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you want to maybe get pregnant in
You
lockdown.
maybe want a
You
baby
may
daddy.
or you may not even give birth to the baby, but you put him through the
You want
guilt
that,
trip
like,
of
you want
if
that
I have an
drama.
abortion.
Yeah.
That drama. Basically, I think. Don't you think women are a whole lot more dramatic than men?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I hate that shit about us,
Absolutely.
but I don't know, we got all hormonal on these men and scare the fuck out of them when we do shit like this. But that's something she did, and that's the red flag. When she
But
did
you know
slip
what
on
Jack
the condom.
realizes here is that Sally, being the submissive, will go to any lengths to please him no matter what he
And
wants.
he enjoys that.
Yeah, he likes that. He likes the fact that Sally is like going out of her way to do exactly what he fucking wants her to do, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing there. So basically they stop mid-fuck and he had an epiphany and he's like, you know what, tell me about your life and shit, right? So they start cuddling again and he's like, oh baby, let's talk, right? And I think Sally's fucking done talking by now, but they start talking about life and he's like, I want to know who you are. And the first story Sally tells him is about being like molested in her past, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a constant comparison between like the kind of guys that she's been with. And she's like, oh, I was with him and he was like this, but you are not like this.
Yeah, he was
I did-
abusive, you are not.
Yeah,
he
like-
was an asshole, you are not.
Yeah, I get it. It's
This is a
okay to
classic
like talk.
case,
It's
man.
okay to talk about your past and what you've been through. If you want something serious with someone, fucking open the fuck up and
Yeah.
talk about whatever you feel comfortable about. But what Sally also says to Jack right now is that she starts talking to him in a way where she's like, oh, she doesn't even know these traits about him, but she's like, I feel like you have this good trait. I feel like you have that good trait. And when I saw you, you reminded me so much of my dad.
Oh, girls got daddy issues.
Girls got major fucking
Every
daddy
girl
issues,
has daddy
right?
issues, man.
But
I mean, we're all comparing the boys to our dads.
this is what Sally's doing. She's trying to mold Jack into the
her
man
dad.
she wants him to fucking be, right?
That is
She's
so
trying to do
incestuous,
that.
but yeah, that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to replace our fathers with, husbands and our mothers with our wives.
So this
or
is
girlfriends.
another red flag that Jack has
Yes,
picked up on,
yes,
right? And
yes.
Jack is like, what the fuck is happening, right?
Right.
So then, post this whole thing, Sally's like, you know what, I gotta go to my uncle's house for a few days. I'll be back. And
Hot and cold again. She's gone.
she's gone. And guess what? This is a girl who's living with him, right? She's gone and she's ghosted him.
And that's it. He has no
She's
clue.
fucking ghosted him. She doesn't.
No texts.
No text, no calls, doesn't pick up. He knows for a fact that she's with the ex. There's a potential thing of the ex being there. She knows everything because he's seeing the Instagram stories and all of that, but she'll keep reading him on read, doesn't talk to him, doesn't reply, doesn't call him back, nothing.
Ghosted.
And Jack's like trying his best,
Ghosted,
right? To like
ghosted.
basically do what he can. Now, Jack starts seeing more and more red flags with her. And he realizes that she potentially might be using him.
Just so that she can kind of get her physical feelings out,
Yeah.
emotional turbulences out.
But he doesn't fucking tell her.
He takes it and then he gives it back to her, I'm sure.
No, but this is exactly where we talk about how men analyze things, right?
Oh, yeah. This is so, I think, as far as this case is concerned.
Men and women.
Men and women, when you're in a toxic relationship, right, this is what happens. And red flags throughout. You know that one person is fucking the other person and then the other person is fucking you back. But this back and forth sort of a vicious circle where you're just fucking each other up is not good for your relationship, is not good for you, your sanity. That's where mental health takes a toll. You get abused, you abuse, and then it just brings out the worst in you. So just psychoanalyzing this relationship, this sort of a toxic relationship is what no one should be in. But why are we in it? Why are narcissists in it? Because they feel that this is masochistic. Like, this is the word I'm introducing here, which is basically you cause pain to yourself. You like the toxicity. You feed off the toxicity. Jack enjoys it. Sally enjoys it. Both know that they're fucking each other up, but they continue doing it and they don't call off on this relationship,
I think I'm
right?
like
Do they call
sort
this
of
relationship
No,
off?
they don't. Jack just leaves it open-ended because he doesn't confront her. So she comes back and she's throwing thirst traps all over again, and Jack is always like, mid-fuck, stop, let's talk. He's trying to see what is the worst, like what is the lowest thing you can go to and how much worse you can get, right? Which is I think this is a trait that all of us have. Even me, like confessing
Me too.
openly. I have like patience in a relationship sometimes where I want to see what is the next worst thing you can say to me. How much worse can but I shouldn't be taking that because that's something I would never predict.
But we all take it because we like it, right? We like
Yeah,
that
like,
sort of drama in
I'm
a
like the
relationship.
worst therapist for myself because I would
Yeah.
never take my own fucking advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I
But
think
everyone is like that.
everybody's like that. And you like somebody, you give them the fucking
You're all fucking
rope.
narcissistic assholes, okay?
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Yeah. So what happens then?
So then basically Jack being Jack changes the narrative again. And he writes Sally a fucking love letter, which we saw, which was...
Yeah.
Do you remember that love letter where he's all like...
Just all like so
You're my
sweet and-
forever. They've exchanged vows. Jack has already gone into how he wants to father her children and all
Yeah,
that fucking
he's
crap.
basically playing her, right? He knows this is completely red flags,
Yeah.
but he still wants to give
He
this
still
letter
wants
to
to
her.
see-
He still
still
wants to
going
see
there,
what's
right?
gonna happen, and she, is surprised because she thought he's gonna break up or whatever when she's playing
Absolutely.
hot and cold, but then he's there. This is what most marriages are like, guys. I mean, I'm on
But-
this side of the spectrum. I'm telling you, most people, when they enter a relationship and they know it's toxic, they continue it for years and years and years, and they fuck their lives and their kids' lives when they know that they're hurting each other and they don't stop. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about all relationships. I'm talking in particular about toxic relationships. This is a perfect example of one where you you should get out. And you should just get the fuck out. Like, that's it. It's, you should just
But
be
it's
all out.
so much harder. Like, it's
It
so much
is.
harder to just
We're
get up
human.
and be like, I want to leave. Because when you love someone, you're like,
Yeah.
here's my
You
kidney,
love
here's
the
my will
pain.
to
Exactly.
live, you know?
Here is everything. Just take me whole.
Yeah, take me whole.
I'll die
Good,
of COVID
bad.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jack gives her this letter and Sally's fucking happy and she's like, oh my god, and she's ready to fall straight into his arms and all of that. Till Jack lets her sleep on it for the night.
Okay. So immediate. Her first reaction is great.
Her
And then
first
after
reaction
that,
is like, yes, baby, you and me, mwah, mwah, mwah,
and
forever.
all that.
Like, we're
yeah.
doing this, right?
And then suddenly next day,
The
again,
next
hot and cold.
day, she just so this is what Sally realizes, right? Is that so if you sleep on shit, your body pretty much has the time to reprocess what is
whatever's
happening, and you get out of that constant of like, oh, I'm so happy, and you have a minute to figure out. So Sally, realizing that she comes from a really conservative family, she first gives straight into the proposal, but then she realizes that if she does, she's losing her chance at freedom. So Sally goes back to the hot and cold.
So she's outside of this relationship, but that's what he was doing all along. He was playing her. He was seeing what she's going to respond
as. She continues to throw This is the most toxic relationship I've probably heard of for a while, because she throws thirst traps, and Jack wants to give her the benefit of doubt every thirst trap and see if it works. And Jack's not a dom, he's not a sub.
He's somewhere in between.
That grey area.
I think we all are. I don't think nobody is a complete dom or a complete sub, as much as 50 Shades would like us to believe it. I don't think it's true. I think everybody goes through a mixture of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how a relationship is, man.
So that's the thing. Jack is playing his game. He's leaving this relationship open-ended. They're still together. They're still fucking living together. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Is this what's happening in most marriages, really?
This is what's happening with
most
everybody.
Relationships.
Yeah, like people are tolerating each other to a whole new level, to a point where you start like losing yourself.
No, but you know what? Here's where I will bring in my years of being in multiple relationships until I'm in one solid one right now. Eventually you come to a point when you get beyond this shit. Like, you might have hurt each other, abused each other, like thrown shade at each other.
You can get beyond that
shit. So this is my big shout out to everybody. If you want to make a relationship work and you think it's for the long haul, if you're going through all of this shit, you shouldn't, but in case you are the type of person who likes to, enjoy the hurt, the feelings, the extreme emotions, if you're able to come out of all of that and still somehow sleep in bed with each other, I'm not just talking about sex here, but, somehow find like a commonality.
If you can work through your issues, kudos to you. Then you're both, because let's face it takes two fucking people to be toxic. You can't just be like one individual. And things turn toxic when you push each other's buttons, you push each other's boundaries. You're both like, I'm toxic. People I've been with are toxic.
Down, slipping under. You just got scared. I just got reminded of that Britney Spears song.
A fucking shout out to Britney Spears. Yeah, she's bald. She was bald and she got through that. But back to it, like if you can work through your issues, because I think working through your issues and not being stuck in that constant limbo of your own desires, right? Yeah. Is you can always alternate realities of your own constants.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you can always choose a different path. You can both become toxic and get out of it together.
Yes.
Fucking that dude's your dude for life.
Absolutely.
That girl's your girl
toxic
for life.
And toxic can still, this is a ray of hope, can still become something productive and beautiful.
Yeah.
But you gotta work through a lot of shit. And I think every relationship these days, it needs that sort of work. Every relationship in its own way has its own toxicities. And if you're able to kind of balance it out, find how you can balance each other. Okay, I'm going to do an Amazon Prime recommend here. A relationship like this between a husband and wife that goes fucking wrong, but is, somehow just great to watch is a series called Arya with Shishmita Sen. She's just returned. Oh
yeah, I wanted to see that.
Oh my God, it's a husband and wife and drug dealing, and how the husband suddenly no more, and how this woman has to take over.
It's a copy of an English series called Power.
I haven't watched that.
Which is actually produced by 50 Cent. So
really?
It's like a little bit of a copy of that, but then here they've got, because I think Sushmita Sen is such a big deal.
She is. She's really,
they've given her as the
if you want to talk about like a good narcissist, if there's something like that, it's her. She's impeccably beautiful, but she's also smart, and she gets her. I love women who like that, man. They're fucking strong and powerful and boss bitches, and at the same time, great mothers, great providers.
Women can do everything, including standing and peeing. Just putting that out.
With Pee Safe.
With Pee Safe. No, we're like anti-Pee Safe right now.
I still want to squat and pee, man.
Yeah. Like a sit-down wee is what everybody needs at the end of every day.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? That people, when they get into like these narcissistic relationships, or they get into these toxic patterns of themselves, they don't even know they're doing it half the time. And I know for a fact that if you don't have the agenda to actually hurt someone, you're not narcissistic. That's where the fine line of consciously wanting to be narcissistic and at the same time being narcissistic is, right?
So here, can I give you the story of, before we wrap up this podcast and get questions and answer, I'm going to give you the story of Narcissus. And this is a god who basically, this entire narcissism, the term and the ideology is derived from this guy. He was so good looking. I mean, he'd put Michelle Morone, Hrithik Roshan, George Clooney and all to shame. Like he was one of the most beautiful gods out there, Narcissus.
Like the Channing Tatums of people.
Oh yeah, I love Channing Tatum. But yeah, step up. Yeah, fuck that shit. Coming back to topic, this guy was really good looking. He was so hot that he had left a trail of broken hearts, like young women who totally into him. And they were always like, fuck, this guy is so good looking. And they were into him. But this guy, in those days, they didn't have mirrors or selfies or whatever the fuck. So he walks to this river and he looks inside this river. He sees his own face and he sees how impeccably beautiful he is. He's so in love with himself that he never leaves that fucking mirror. So nobody else can get into him. He loves himself and that's it. That's all. He only, so much so that he dies by that river of starvation and he doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, he just can't stop looking at himself. That's the height.
That's his first.
The story's not over. The story's not over. So narcissists want to be immortal, want to be like, they want all the attention in the world. So even after he dies, they say that the blood that came out of his self-inflicted wound, like he cut himself, that turned into a flower. So his narcissism in his head lives on. But imagine one of the most good-looking and impeccably chiseled man never had someone who could love him. He never let it happen because he loved himself so much.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Self-love 101 right there, right? So this is what we're going to talk about. Like, before we end our segment here, let's get into the last bit of like,
questions.
No, the perception of love, of like your first love and how you're constantly waiting for that.
Oh, yes.
I think that's something you need to tell people because you told me the other day, this is what I love about Jane, right? Is because she's like so much older than me. She gives me all this spitting wisdom that I'm probably going to take a little while to learn.
So I've actually spoken to a lot of my friends and everybody tells me that no matter who you're in a relationship with in life, like right now I'm in a happy one and I've been for a while, but you'll always in your dreams and in your thought process, sometimes, you're hallucinating. You're always thinking of that first guy you fell in love with. This could be your dad as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Could be anyone who sets the benchmarks. It could be your first love. I always have dreams of going back to school, not because I was in love with the person, my first crush, whatever. But that was the ideal. He
that
set
is the
bar.
ideal. That is the bar.
He's
and
married.
Then there is no bar.
He has a son.
Anymore.
I still stalk him and I don't have feelings for him, but I still think, oh my fucking God, that was my standard. And somehow, I'm in a super happy relationship and I still dream of this because
that's where the bar was set to begin with.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, my first boyfriend or my first love, we're still really good friends like 10 years down the line because he is the nicest fucking person in the world and we're super chill and he's dating someone and we have all these crazy conversations. But I always had that bar of how good he was because he was my first kiss and that's it. Like, it was my first kiss and then we were like really young.
So the big question here is, aren't we all in rebound relationships then?
We're all
because
stuck
we
in
never
this constant
ever
limbo
get
of
over
finding
that
the
one
first guy.
Yeah, first guy or your father. Usually with most women.
Yeah, no, with most women it's your dad. You're looking for qualities that your dad has in your boyfriend.
And do they even make men like them anymore?
Like, this is what men do, right? They're looking for mummies in like their relationship, but they don't like being mothered.
Yeah.
Have you
exactly.
realized that?
I've realized
like
that. Mommy's boys don't want to be...
but they want you to be like their mom, but they don't want to be mothered by you.
Yeah, it's like a weird situation. And it's the same with girls, man. They want a sugar daddy, not in the real sense of the word. They want a daddy-like figure in their lives. But they also want their independence and they want to, like do whatever. So, I mean, I guess we're in that point in time, relationships, where I guess this is like kind of a problem, right?
The older you get, the younger you live, right?
I believe that, man. I'm in my 30s now and I feel I'm reliving my 20s because I'm dating someone in his 20s. Plus, I'm hanging out with a lot of people. I'm understanding their stories, just like Jack and Sally's story. I mean, I think we're all living Jack and Sally's stories some point of time.
In a way, we have or we're going to. You're going to, and it's going to suck for a while, but if you're smart enough, then you'll get out.
Yeah.
If you're not, then fucking be there.
Yeah, if there's no pain in a relationship, how is it even a relationship?
Pain,
if you're not going to fight, if you're not going to fucking fuck each other's head up, I mean, I don't know.
That happens, and that's what I want to put out, is like when guys go like, oh my God, we fought and we did this. Shut the fuck up. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's screaming. Everyone is like, I get it. It shouldn't get to a point where you're like beating the crap of each other. Abuse is wrong for sure. But everybody fights. Everybody says some nasty fucking shit.
And there's
to
some
one
people who
another.
get over
because
even
the
that
people
abuse. I
you
wouldn't
love
recommend it, but there are people who get over abuse and still are able to. I mean, I don't know. Some women are able
I
to
think
do
that's
it.
just like all of us, right?
All of
We're
us, yeah.
secretly like looking into like love.
Yes.
Like, for me, my ideal man in my head, even though he's not the best character, and I've gotten so much shit for this, but like the characteristics of Stanley Kowalski, you know, who is a literary character. Google him if you don't know who he is. It's something about his raw masculine sexuality that gets me so like, I want a Stanley Kowalski, right? But he's a fucking abusive drunk man who beat his pregnant wife, which is fucked up. But
Yeah,
he's
in
got
real life.
these characteristics. No, it's a literary character. It's
Right.
It's a book.
So in the so his character does that, but then
Yeah.
before that, you liked all his characters.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all his characteristics, but this is the thing, right? This is why this is one of my favorite books as well. So Stanley Kowalski beats his woman Stella because he gets drunk and he slaps her and she runs away and he's this fucking dominant ass motherfucker. He doesn't take shit from her. But when she leaves him and she goes away, right?
Is when he realizes
he
her
stands
importance
at
and-
the bottom of the staircase, which is the most beautiful thing I've seen my whole life. He stands at the bottom of his staircase and he just starts screaming, Stella! Stella!
They get
And then
back together.
she comes down and this man falls to his fucking knees and puts his head down below her. And she's like, you're my one, you're my all.
Oh my God, this is the perfect example of how we all dig that one person in our life.
Yeah,
and
and he's a horrible fucking man.
This
but
is a line which is true. I saw this in a Radhika Apte Netflix show. You only let the ones who love you hurt you.
do the most.
Yeah,
the ones
the
who love
most.
you will fuck you up the most.
most.
The
And
ones
that
you
is
love, you will fuck up the most.
The most, yeah.
Which is sad. Should we get into
No,
questions?
which I think is happy. Because if you can't see the saddest bits of each other, if you can't fuck each other up, then how can you love each other up? You can't see the highs until you see the fucking lows,
I don't
right?
want to admit to it confidently because I know for a fact I'm going to get so much shit.
Yeah,
So,
but I believe in this.
I mean, fair enough, yeah. So,
yeah, questions?
questions. Okay. The first question that we have today, we only have two because we only take like 2 to 3 good ones. Sometimes a one good one because sometimes we get a lot of shit. Cash flow in relationships, you know,
Cash flow?
and
Oh.
how money in a general plays an aspect in relationships. Someone actually asked about this, so
I think narcissism has a lot to do with looks, money, and power. So if you have a combination of all three, like fucking God bless you. But I mean, it usually stems out of that. And if you are the one who's more financially endowed, the other person automatically, if you realize, becomes a sub because you're the provider, you're giving the money, but at the same time, the one who's receiving the money is also doing a lot of work at home or, you know, is working, is like putting hours into maybe making your home or whatever, right? So in that case, a dom sub relationship, it's very fucked up. I don't know. In India, most women, even today, depend on somebody some guy in the family, either a father, a brother, or a husband.
yeah, but I feel like just as
changing?
society, we're like developing, you know, because
Now.
we know a lot of women who are married, unmarried, divorced, and are
Yeah.
doing really well for themselves financially. At least.
Yeah.
And they don't need a fucking man to complete them. Shout out to women like you. I'm fucking useless. Okay.
No, I mean, and it's something we have to do by no choice sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think cash flow in relationships
It's
is
very important, even for women, to just be financially stable yourself.
Yes.
Whether you're earning more than the guy or less than him or
Just
whatever.
go get
just be
yourself
at your
something.
own financial stability. Don't count on him to be paying your fucking bills. If you
Yeah.
have to pay his bills, I mean, I don't know how open you are about that.
But
if
there are
you're
still
okay
some
with
Indian
it.
men who don't want their women to earn because they feel that that sort of financial leverage will give
That's
them a
male
bigger
ego.
That's patriarchy also,
That's
right?
major ego. If
Yeah.
you want to be in a happy, successful relationship, take your ego and shove it up your own ass.
Yeah, I
honestly.
also know relationships these days, and I have to shout out to people who are doing it now, younger, where whether it's the man who's the housewife right now or the woman,
the ghar jamai.
whoever is taking care of the
Indian
house,
society.
right? Which is a big fucking job because we in lockdown know, like, you know, you need to clean and fucking cook. That's a lot of work. I think it's even more difficult than working outside, making the money. You know, forming a house is a beautiful thing, but I feel these days, men and women are kind of looking at not just the financial aspect, but, you know, bringing both whole and soul.
Yeah.
But I feel that just because you're bringing in the money doesn't mean you can call the shots anymore. Women
Exactly. that
and
doesn't
men
work that
understand
way.
this, right?
I feel like let him make his own money. You make your own money and have a joint account for like your holiday expenses or like your drug expenses or whatever. you know?
or clothes expenses.
Yeah, for buying your clothes, women who go crazy and
Like
shop on
me.
their guys' credit
Fuck.
cards.
Did they block Shein yet? Because I love it.
Oh, No, it's still
Such
there.
a
Ordered something.
budgetary
Guys,
way.
Shein is still on. I don't know if by the time this podcast airs, if it'll be
Yeah,
there.
we offer
but
on.
we're sitting recording it right now and it's still there. So please go
good.
fucking order yourself some basics on Shein.
And
right?
while Priya hates TikTok, let me just say I like Insta Reels, man. It's new and it's swag.
The only reason I'll ever be on Insta Reels is because Jane politely made me do it. She didn't ask, she made me
I
do
didn't
it
politely do it. I just impolitely did it, but nevertheless.
It's alright.
All right, so is that the only question we're going to take today?
Yeah, that's the only good question that came in today for now, because everything else is pretty different. But you know what? We'll probably dedicate one episode just to doing all your questions and talking about all your crazy
Absolutely.
stories.
Right
if we
into
have
us.
the time.
Whatever
Our
it
bonus,
is.
find the bonus facts of the Misbehaved podcast. Okay, MILF Squad, that's all we pretty much have for you
we have to give
today.
parting statements
Oh yeah, we do.
on narcissism. Yeah, in
On
general.
narcissism. Everybody's a fucking narcissist. Honestly, everybody's doing things on their subconscious mind. I think the only thing with you is aim to be a good fucking person. Don't go out there and hurt someone on purpose for your own personal interest, because that shit's gonna come and bite you back one day, and that's gonna really fucking suck.
All right, my parting statement is look in the mirror, get your makeup right, ladies, guys, get your whatever you want right. But don't be narcissistic to the point of avoiding your partner, because that is a very dangerous trend. If you're going to be so narcissistic with your looks, with your life, with you and your family and just what is around you, this relationship that you're in, no matter how amazing it's been all these years or months or weeks, is going to go fucking down the drain. You have to learn to step down from your pedestal, and whether you like it or not, you will have to one day kneel down, just like
Kneel
that
down
fictional
like
character.
Stanley
I forgot,
Kowalski.
yeah, Stanley Kowalski. You got to do it, because if one is up, the other is down. If the other is up, the one is up. You basically, it's like a relationship is like a seesaw, is like a swing. You have to go through the ups and downs together. So only you, and focusing on you, your life, your friends, your fucking motherfucking bank account. If that's the only thing you're going to look at, you're never going to be happy. There has to be a sort of shared sense of responsibility. So narcissism, while it's great for the gram, while it's great for instant gratification, is not good in a long
It's
relationship.
not good in a it's really not. And I think one thing that people need to really realize is that a relationship is equal parts of fucked up good and confusing at the same part. Like it's
Equal
all
parts of fucked up good, fucked up bad.
fucked up good, fucked up bad.
Yeah.
Should we wrap?
That's it. That's all. That's all we have.
Thanks guys for tuning in to
Follow
another
us on the Misbehaved podcast on
Instagram, Twitter, follow our personal handles,
Jane _ Jayakumar,
and
Priya
Priya
_
Rangan. We'll be
Rangan.
back next time with another controversial
And
episode.
if you have a story like Jack and Sally and you want to share, we'd be more than happy.
If you just want to meet for drinks and get high, please call us. Otherwise, also we're friendly fucking people.
if you want to fucking sponsor us, just reach out.
Yeah.
to us. The Misbehaved
Look at us
podcast.
openly. Or we're going to start a GoFundMe page and then you guys are going to think we're assholes. Okay? So
Which we are sometimes. That's how we're narcissistic
we're just
too.
misbehaved. We're just too fucking
So misbehaved.
misbehaved.
Alrighty, that's
See
all we
you
have time for.
guys. Bye.